Jeremy Fleming has built stages for some of the biggest events and acts to ever come to Australia. Then COVID hit and he was left without a business. But thanks to an extraordinary pivot, business has never been so good. It's a fully staged episode 527 of the 11-year-old, award-winning Small Business Big Marketing podcast.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to your weekly dose of magnificent marketing. I'm your host, Timbo Reid. You, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner and you are well and truly overdue to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire that it absolutely deserves to be. Big episode today. Stage maker to the stars, Jeremy Fleming shares how a COVID-forced pivot, along with an employee's hobby, has been unbelievably good for business. This week's Monster Prize Draw winner found the confidence to change his business for the better thanks to an idea picked up from a past episode. Plus, I let you in on an upcoming guest who has something shocking to tell all us business owners. Yeah, a little bit more on that later. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in.
Hey Timbo, it's Melissa Bush from Shy Legal in Sydney. I have been such a long-time listener, sorry. I just wanted to leave a message to say thank you very much for what a fantastic job you're doing. I have got a list a mile long. I've always been meaning to send you an email, but usually because I'm out walking the dog or driving in the car listening to you, I haven't yet sent you an email, but I am vowing and promising to myself that as soon as I walk inside, I can see home in the distance now. As soon as I walk inside, I'll be sending you an email. Have a great day.
Melissa Bush of Shy Legal. Gosh, I love hearing listeners stick their head above the trench and saying hello. Melissa, thank you for that. I did get your email, a little note about a rebrand that you're going through. Good luck on that. I've done a few episodes on rebrands, so dig into the archive. Everyone else, if you would like to call me, I'm not going to answer. It's a recorded message and you leave me a recorded message. Call the Small Business Big Marketing hotline on 0480 015 150. Stop listening now. Just do it now and ring and say g'day and tell me why you love the show or tell me what I could be doing better. Whatever. 0480 015 150. Righto, let's meet Jeremy Fleming, the founder of IsoKings, the company responsible for building stages for huge events throughout Australia. We're talking the Commonwealth Games, any big rock concerts that used to come our way, the set for Ninja Warrior, the Edinburgh Military Tattoo, and the list goes on and on and on. Like, this guy is the guru of stage building. Well, until COVID-19 hit, when his business, like so many, literally ground to a halt overnight. But instead of licking his wounds, Jeremy and his wife pivoted immediately into flat pack office furniture. Seems an obvious pivot, going from stage construction to building flat pack office furniture. Now, under the brand name IsoKings, business is absolutely booming once again, employing more staff than ever, and he's donated over $50,000 to a charity called Support Act, which helps Aussie musicians who are out of work, and they are all out of work. So if you've got a couple of bucks to spare, head over to the Support Act website and drop it their way. Now, given how well Jeremy's handled COVID-19 in his business, I had to start off by asking him what he'd say to business owners who are stuck or struggling right now.
There are options out there, and I think the big thing is to try new things. If you've got an idea, run with that. Think agile is a word that keeps coming up. As an events-based company, we have quite an agile mindset anyway. So I think that it really, there's always looking at things positively and just trying new things.
Agile meaning be open to new ideas, be flexible. Don't be so stuck in your thinking there's only one way.
That's exactly right. As IsoKings, we build different structures for everything. We could be building Shakespeare's Globe Theatre one day, then a 30-metre tall lion for a dance party the next day, and everything's always different. And so we really, and I think the event industry as a whole does think this way, always thinking of different ways to do things, better ways to do things. And when this has come up, this is the way we had to look at this as well.
And there's a point there where some of the sort of more negative listeners who are a little bit stuck and are struggling and go, well, that's all right for Jeremy. He just pivoted to a point that was not far from what he was already doing. But again, sort of negative thinking, we need to sort of break free a bit of that. It's like, we're all working from home these days. That's been a massive shift. So keep that momentum up, I guess, behind massive shifts and be open to new ideas. Let's talk about Stage Kings, because you actually built a pretty significant business pre-COVID, which you ran with your wife for 5 years. Explain what Stage Kings did and how big it got. What kind of jobs were you doing?
So my background's in scaffold, and I worked for a scaffold manufacturer, a German manufacturer, and we sold a lot of scaffold to events companies. And so I got quite involved in the events industry here, in staging in particular here in Australia. For a long time, everything kind of looked the same to me here. My time in Europe showed me that these big decorated structures, the themed things like Tomorrowlands and your Wish festivals and big, quite ornate structures, was a great thing. It brought people to shows for the experience of the show itself and to come and see what the stage was going to be, not just the person on the stage. And so I thought that Australia needed something like that as well. It was happening in a small way here, but we thought these larger structures was a good option. And so 5 years ago, we took the leap and started Stage Kings with that in mind. And very quickly, we got quite good traction. We were doing jobs for the NRL within our first year. And within 2 years, we'd won the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony. We built the set for the whole opening ceremony. And it went from there. We got quite a good reputation and we've done a lot of great projects.
So many questions in what you just said. I mean, not only did you do those jobs, you've done the Ninja Warrior set for the TV series. You've done the replica Edinburgh Castle for the Edinburgh military tattoo that was in Sydney. You, I think, had the Robbie Williams concert tour booked, which got cancelled when COVID came along. I mean, these are significant jobs for, with all respect, for a tradie who was working on scaffolding, right? 6 years ago.
Correct.
You then go and start. How does a small business that's just started out get clients of that size and magnitude?
We got a very good reputation very quickly. And for me, when I started, I had a pick list, my A team that I wanted to get on board. So and these were guys that I'd worked with over many years from different areas. And I basically went and started plugging away to those guys to see if we could get them on board, and we did. We got Mick Jessup, our head of production, who's been key to this whole pivot. He was the head of Sydney Festival for 9 years, so a genius guy. We got him to come over, and we've got our team is just second to none. And so our reputation as a team is amazing, and we were pulling off these jobs, and it's run from there.
Okay, I'm going to dig deeper on that because that all sounded very, very easy, Jeremy. And if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it. You, what was the terminology? You picked away. So you employed some good people who had some good contacts, who could pick up the phone, I'm guessing, to key people in client side that could say yes or no, who controlled the purse strings. Was that your secret sauce, or was there something else that you did? Because, I know, for example, getting the Commonwealth Games, that's hard.
Yeah.
And I imagine, the tender process, I don't even want to imagine. I feel actually sick thinking about it. Again, take us a step below. What did you do to get those clients?
With everything, I think it comes down to who you can pick up the phone and talk to. Mick was our first get, and I jumped on the phone to Mick. I've known him for many years, and we went and caught up, and I knew the stage that he was in life and business, and it made sense for him to come over, and we made that happen. From there, it's been who we've been able to get on the phone and who we can work with. The tender, you're right, the tender process for the Commonwealth Games was enormous. We beat a lot of far more experienced international players than us for that. But because we had Mick jumped on as project director for that, We also were working with a great friend of ours, Shaun Ahern, who is a construction manager on all the films. So there was no films at the time. He came over to jump on there with us as well. So the caliber of people we had involved was second to none. And I really think that's the key to everything, is knowing who to call. I don't know everything. I'm new to, I'm an old scaffolder, but I know who to call with the right things.
Would your biggest job be the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony, the stage for that?
Look, it is. I think that is certainly one of the biggest jobs. The other one is Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, which we've now built 3 times around the country: Melbourne, Sydney, and then Perth. That is an enormous builder. We build every part of that theatre from the ground up. We walk into an empty car park and leave with a replica of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. So that's a massive project for us. But the Commonwealth Games was a 6-month process. It was huge.
What are your emotions like on opening night?
I like to sit by myself whenever I'm watching an opening night. It depends on weather and all these things. There's a lot of nerves generally.
What are you looking for? Because you're not watching the entertainment, I'm guessing.
No, I look at the structure. I look at anything that may be moving with wind, or I'm looking at the nuts and bolts.
Is it too late by then when you see a bolt when you see a bolt fly off? Which
absolutely,
you're not going to be able to.
No, we never see that, and we've never had any issue, and everything is so engineered that nothing really can go wrong. But by that stage, it is too late, so I probably shouldn't even worry about it.
How did you go about marketing? Besides, obviously, knowing the right people to speak to, having an A-team on your side to make those phone calls, was there any other marketing that you did to build Stage Kings to a significant point within 5 years? We didn't. We've done really almost no marketing for Stage Kings. We set up Facebook page and we set up an Instagram account, and that's kind of it. We've posted photos of what we've done. It's all been about who we've known in our network. And one of my teachers said when I left school, look, you can talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles, you'll be fine. That's kind of what I've run with, is I can talk to anyone, and that's sort of where we start. But really, it's Facebook and Instagram, and we've never done a paid post for Stage Kings on either of them. So everything's word of mouth. I find that fascinating. If there ever was a B2B business, it was Stage Kings. Yet Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, look, it just was what everyone else was doing, so we jumped on. Yeah.
I mean, LinkedIn to me would have seemed the obvious choice, but
yeah. Look, now we're trying now to do more LinkedIn with the new sort of way we're going, but and we never had many followers, so it probably wasn't the right thing. But yeah, we had a couple of thousand. But
mind you, behind the scenes works on social media generally for any business. Your behind the scenes is literally like the original behind the scenes, going and seeing behind the scenes of the Commonwealth Games stage of the opening ceremony, or the Robbie Williams concert stage. I mean, that's exciting stuff. So you actually do have some pretty interesting things that you could post visually. So probably made for Facebook and Instagram.
You're right. Visually, and people love the thought of concerts and festivals. It's it's quite a sexy industry for people. Behind the scenes, it's a pretty tough slog, but it's what people want to see.
How big did Stage Kings get? You've talked about the clients. Can you talk about staff, turnover? I don't know, whatever. Just give us a sense of how big you grew it in 5 years before COVID hit.
It was quite amazing. It was literally 5 years, almost to the day, when COVID hit. But events industry expands and contracts as necessary. So we have a core team of 12 people, 12 full-time designers, project managers, and then management. But we expand and contract. When we were doing the Commonwealth Games, we had nearly 70 people working for that project. Throughout last summer was our busiest summer ever. We had the Globe Theatre going in Perth. We had dance parties in Melbourne and concerts in Brisbane, and all up and down the East Coast as well. And we had up to 100 people working over that period. There's a lot of freelance and a lot of casuals in the event industry. And that's part of the reason COVID's hit the industry so hard as well. There's a lot of people fall through the cracks, but we'll get to that. We grew really nicely. For the year one, as any business, I think we lost 150,000 or something, and then it went from there. Commonwealth Games was only in year 3 for us, and that was quite an amazing year. Our turnover was up 800% that year, and then it dropped back a bit, and then last year was on target to be our biggest year yet. last financial year.
Did you love it?
Yeah, I love it. It's really hard work. We know that whenever it's getting close to show day, it's going to be stressful, but we all love it, and everyone in the industry loves that. They thrive on it.
No doubt. Middle of March 2020, take your mind back.
13th.
The 13th of March.
Friday the 13th of March, yeah. Mick and I were in Melbourne with a few of our crew, and we were huddled around a mobile phone watching ScoMo's press conference. And we'd built the Ninja Warrior set down there. We still had guys working on that. And like you mentioned, the Robbie Williams and Miley Cyrus World Tour, the set was built ready to go. And so Friday morning, the 13th, was when the Formula One was due to open. And it didn't. We were sitting around the phone, and ScoMo said we're putting a ban on all public gatherings over 500 people. And that's 100% of what we do is public gatherings with a lot of people. And that was, we thought, the beginning of the end. Immediately there was a massive feeling of dread. We jumped straight on a plane and came back to Sydney. We were supposed to be there all weekend and came back, and that evening, I sat with Tabitha, my wife and business partner, and said, "This could be it. We will likely lose the house here and the business." We thought that was going to go, and then my parents live up in Hervey Bay. We thought we were going to have to live with them. We got on the call and said, "Look, this is likely to happen, and we may need to bring the whole family up there." Horrible.
What did Tabitha say at that point? Is she? Did either of you kind of really? I mean, you both hit a very low point, but was one of you sort of stronger than the other and said, "No, we're going to manage our way through this"?
We work really well in that when one of us is down, the other one's up, and vice versa. So always, if someone's feeling that it's all too much, the other one says, "No, it's," and gives us a boost. We'll get through this. That night. It's the first time ever we've both thought that was it, and it was really one of the lowest points in my business career, and personally, we were looking at letting go of all of our staff. That a lot of them had been with us for 5 years. It was a terrible night. That night was terrible. You
very quickly made a decision to pivot. One of the most overused words of 2020, but it's a reasonable. It describes exactly what you did. You pivoted into flat pack office furniture. I mean, where did that idea come from? Was it something that you'd been toying with anyway because you're already tooled up to do that stuff? Where? Immediately, Mick and I, even when we were in Melbourne and had seen that, we started to look at what everyone else was doing around the world. We were talking to guys throughout Europe, seeing what they were doing. And so we actually designed up. So Friday the 13th, everything ended. Throughout the next week, we were working on what we could do. We designed up temporary waiting rooms for hospitals that we could build in car parks with our truss and our scaffold and the staging. And we went to all of the hospitals around around Sydney. We went and saw Carmelo, our local Sutherland Shire mayor, and spoke to as many people as we could. We got a lot of input, and we've got the designs. They're there ready to go, but nothing took off in that week. And but it was from the Friday to the Friday. We had to look at what we needed to cut back. We needed to reduce all of our outgoings. We went into survival mode. We were going to have to let everyone go. We were going to have to cut back our rent and our outgoings. There's a lot of equipment in a staging company, so we have equipment finance, and we had all those conversations that week. The Friday, the 20th, we had to let everyone go, and so everyone took their tools. We decided that Mick and I could probably keep this alive for 4 months was what we'd worked out. We could keep this alive. If everyone else was gone, we reduced all of our outgoings, and we did 2 days a week. What were you keeping alive? Well, just trying to keep the lights on. You know, we thought we didn't realize it would last that long. At that stage too, we thought, okay, surely Vivid's not going to cancel. You know, Vivid will never cancel. Vivid cancelled. We thought the Easter show would never cancel. That hasn't been cancelled in 100 years. Easter show cancelled, and so we didn't know. We really didn't know. We didn't know how long it was going to last and what was going to come out of it.
So that's what we planned. Mick and I would work just to tidy up the shed, maybe clean some truss and keep things in order.
Do you have any insurances that you could fall back on?
Not for this, no. We were still kept chatting to people overseas, and for the Friday we went and had beers, and there were tears in the beers at the pub, and as everyone was finishing up for who knows how long. Sunday after that Friday, I was talking to a colleague over in Ireland who actually had done some work with us over in Australia here a few years back, Flying Elephant Productions, a company. And I was talking to Steve, and he said, look, we're looking at making a desk. Why don't you guys look at something similar? And that's what flicked the switch. I got straight on the phone to Mick and I said, mate, we need to make work from home office furniture. Let's work on that. Now, Mick, this is a very lucky coincidence. Mick designs furniture as a hobby. He's built all of the furniture in his house and he does an absolutely amazing job of it. And so he got to work that Sunday, came in on Monday morning. We met at the workshop and he'd built a 3D model, very small 3D print of a desk and a stand-up desk, both built with no tools, flat packed, and they look great. And so that Monday, we went and got a couple of bits of ply and cut these desks. And so this is 48 hours earlier, we said goodbye to everyone. That Monday, we built 2 desks, and we thought they were brilliant. So Monday night, my wife wrote an e-commerce site to tack onto our little website, and we took photos on Tuesday morning, and we were on sale by 3 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. So within 48 hours of the idea, we were on sale, and within minutes, we'd started selling desks, and 30 desks we sold the first day.
What?
And it's gone from there.
Okay, young Jeremy, there's many questions here. 30 desks in the first day. I want to know how you got those orders, but even before that, your wife Tabitha builds an e-commerce site that you tack on to stagekings.com.au, which I think is awesome as easy solution. You've already got that domain and website up. Is your wife an e-commerce web designer previously?
No. No, she's good at looking up YouTube, and so that's what we did. We thought, let's look for the simplest solutions, the quickest solutions, and so we had a Squarespace, stagekings.com.au site, very simple site, and we looked at what was going to take to tack on an e-commerce page to that, and so Squarespace had one. We knew that Shopify it was a stronger platform, but this was going to be easier and quicker. So we did that, and she worked on that overnight, literally by watching YouTube tutorials on how to create an e-commerce site. And by Tuesday, we had one.
How do you get your first 30 orders in 24 hours?
So I wrote an open letter, let's call it, and I put it onto our social media. I didn't really know what else to do. So I wrote a letter, and so what we were thinking as well is we need to promote the story of what we're doing here. So we didn't go out and say we're trying to sell desks, buy these desks off us. It was all about our story, and I just said that we are in the events industry, which has been hit really hard. We've got a lot of good people that we want to keep working, and so we're trying this to see how we go. It's going to keep our people working. It's going to keep our lights on, and hopefully it'll get us through. And we said from the start that if we were going to do any good out of it, we wanted to give back. So we pulled out of work event crew back in to help us with that, and we said that this is what we were going to do, and we were going to donate $10 from every desk sale to Support Act, who supports the events industry and live music industry. And so I put that letter on Facebook and LinkedIn as well at that stage, and within a week, that had been seen by 1 million people and shared, I think, 2,500 times. And
what?
It just, I've never experienced anything like it, and it took it off.
1 million people saw that open letter on Facebook. How many followers did you have? How many friends did you have on Facebook? This
is the thing, not a lot. We had maybe 2,500 followers on the Stage Kings page. I've got however many friends it is, 500 or so. We shared it. Everyone we knew shared it. It was very early too. We moved very, very quickly. So it was from the Friday before is when everything had finished up. By Tuesday, we were on sale, and so everyone could see a bit of a good news story coming. And the amount of times that it was shared and seen, it just blew our mind. And our traffic was huge through the site.
So you there's a couple of, luck's an interesting word. I mean, you create your own luck, I believe, but you've got Mick, employee who's a furniture making hobbyist. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You put this letter out on social media where all the bosses around the world are saying to their staff, work from home. That creates an industry in itself. Officeworks is running out of desks. Everyone else is running out of desks. So you're tooled up to make desks. So everything's falling into place here. But then you kind of got to ask yourself, well, what is needed? And I've heard you talk previously, Jeremy, about this concept of community-led innovation. Can you tell us what that is and how it worked for IsoKing?
Yeah, it came from, the idea came from the amount of feedback we got immediately from the open letter, people giving us their support and telling us that they're here to help. And so I thought, let's ask them what they need. Everything we've done, we've said to people, what is it that you need? You know, what else can we do to help you at home? Everyone's at home now and trying to do things around the house. Is there any issues you have around the house? What problems can we help you solve? And people tell us, and sometimes a lot of people tell us. You know, like we had nearly 2,000 people tell us that they wanted a cat tower, so we built a cat tower. Shoe racks, these puzzle boards we make now. People were saying our backs are sore from doing puzzles because the PM had told everyone to go and do puzzles. And so everyone's leaning over tables. And so we made a puzzle board that was on an angle and helped people's backs. And we've sold thousands of those things now. And so everything we've built now has come from the community. It's things that people want.
You were a B2B business with IsoKings. IsoKing is very much, you'd probably argue B2C, business to consumer, although you're sort of business to... Has it been much of a shift for you to go, I mean, manufacturing-wise, no, but like just what about marketing and getting the name out there?
It's been a massive learning curve. We've never had to deal with customers calling at any hour of any day saying, where's my shipment? Where's this? So we've put on some of the best people to deal with that. Nat, who runs our customer service now, is a first-class Qantas steward. So she looks after generally first-class people on Qantas planes. And
wow, her customer service knowledge would be amazing.
Never seen anyone better.
Tell me a little bit more about that. I love that. I love, what's she particularly good at?
Well, so to start with, we looked at, like I mentioned, pulling in out-of-work event crew. So we put calls out whenever we needed to ramp up, which happened very quickly, to out-of-work event crew. Then we saw airlines were falling as well, and we had some friends in the airlines, and we first-class customer service. Well, is that first class? And so we got Nat on to do that, and so she answers phones, and the amount of feedback we get just on the way that Nat deals with people is amazing. We get so much positive feedback and reviews, 5-star reviews from everyone saying the customer service at IsoKings is second to none, and that's because of Nat and the guys behind the scenes.
I suppose too, given that you are new to this, it's a completely new brand, and you are selling to consumers, and it is online. So there's a whole lot of little trust points along the way that you need to ensure people are feeling comfortable about buying from a new business online. And someone like Nat would be gold if they know that they can ring up and then not only speak to a human locally, and one that is actually just all over great customer service. That's such a win. So are you going to be able to afford Nat's $1 million annual salary going forward? Or
we need to see what happens with Qantas.
Oh yeah, that's true. She might be back flying sooner than you hope. What are your top 3 sellers, Jeremy? The
desks have been huge. The puzzle boards are right up there. And the next one is probably Christmas trees, which we only launched 2 weeks ago. And again, that's from the community. People said, can you guys design a Christmas tree? And so we've done that. We've made a flat pack Christmas tree. I posted a video the other day of it going together in a minute. And Mick's done a brilliant job of that. And so we've got a Christmas tree there, and now a bigger one and a smaller one now. And that's very quickly becoming one of our best sellers.
What's the idea behind flat pack as a value proposition versus just shipping furniture?
We didn't want it's flat pack, and it also needs no tools. So for us to make everything flat packed it's just the easiest way for us to get it out of the workshop. But then we didn't want to have any tools because we all know what happens when everyone sits around putting an IKEA piece together. It's we want to protect marriages as well.
I hear you. I think about that stuff. I think if Sarah, my girlfriend, says, let's go to IKEA, I'm like, I just feel sick. I might even vomit in my mouth because I know that I'm going to be the one who has to set it up. But, let's not do that. Let's go to the beach. I don't know whether you realise, and maybe it's just part of your DNA, Jeremy, but simplicity is a lovely part of the IsoKing brand. Flat pack furniture, easy to assemble, no tools, $9.95 shipping Australia-wide. The website itself, visually appealing, very simple. You're making it very, very easy for people to give you money. Do you know that? We've learned a lot along the way. It didn't start off like that. We've left a lot on the table along the way, and that's because I wanted to move so quickly. We've changed the site. The site now you're looking at is the new Shopify site, which we changed 2 months ago, maybe now. Why?
Well, the initial site was great for what we needed, but as we kept adding pieces of furniture onto there, it just got quite messy. And for me, I like what I like, and I hate to go onto a site and get confused. I'll just get straight off. So for us, it was important that our site was very easy to navigate. People could get to where they wanted to get to very quickly. I've never done anything e-commerce or marketing. I'm a scaffolder, but I know what I like, and that's what we try to do. I also don't like to be held up when I'm ordered something. I don't want it to take ages to get to me. So we stocked up our shelves with a week's worth of products because I wanted, and a lot of the guys hated me for this up front, but I wanted people to order in the morning and for it to be out the door that afternoon. And that's what we've done. And so people, we do say there's a maximum up to 5 days delivery now, and that's mostly because of the courier drivers. Mostly we get it out that day or next day.
I mean, it's not easy being simple. It's actually very easy to be complicated, but to actually strip things down to its core parts, it's like Jeff Bezos with Amazon, the whole one-click thing. I bought something on Amazon yesterday and buy now, thinking it'll go to the next page. I actually bought it. You get to that next page when you buy online, you think, it's my last chance to think whether I really should do this or not, but the next page was actually, congratulations, your delivery's on its way. Fortunately, right. I did need what I bought and wasn't just scooting around the internet hoping to buy something. What's been the hardest part of growing IsoKing? It seems like a dream run so far, but is there any time when you've looked Tabitha in the eye and gone, oh, geez, hang on?
No, not really. We've thoroughly enjoyed the process, and like I said, we've made mistakes, but that doesn't worry me either. I think making mistakes is important, and we've learnt a lot from that. And the reason the site now is so easy is because we made those mistakes, and we've just done everything at quite a pace. We're only 7 months now, actually, 7 months in, and we've got some really exciting stuff happening. I can say it now. We've just signed some licensing deals to be able to print teams onto the desks for kids and things like that. So that's all happening. We're just finalising a licensing deal to sell throughout Europe. So we'll manufacture under license in Europe. So we're really excited about it, and the future's looking great.
That's interesting. So taking it overseas, have you had demand from overseas and that's sort of made you go, okay, well, we need to set up over there?
We've had a lot of demand from overseas, and I think particularly Europe. So Flying Elephant, the guys that I was talking to that gave us the initial seed of the idea, those guys have continued on over there, and they've got a few things, but they see a lot of potential, and so they're actually going to run IsoKing Europe for us. So,
and how does that work? Money changes hands. You boys run IsoKing. How do you maintain brand and quality control?
We've got quite an agreement getting written up for that, and unfortunately, we can't go and have a look at anything at the moment.
You can't go over, no.
So it's all going to be done via Zoom, and look, really just trust. We trust those guys, and we've had a lot of calls from the States as well, but we don't know anyone there, and that's been a bit of a tough one, but we'll keep working on that.
You'll get a call after this, I have no doubt. Trust me on that one. Just with the marketing of IsoKing B2C, 2 or 3 episodes ago, we had a very detailed episode on search engine optimization. I've had a lot of discussions on this podcast over the years about content creation. You know, business owners should have a podcast or a YouTube channel or a blog or an ebook. Are you doing all those things, or is this all happening organically?
Everything has been organically up until a couple of weeks ago when we did our first EDM.
Ooh, fancy acronym. Electronic direct mail.
Don't ask me what it stands for. Yeah. But
elephant doing magnificent. I don't know.
That's right. So we really are. This is new to us, and so we've been and really we're very lucky that we have a lot of friends that do know what they're doing, and so we're leaning on a lot of those guys. My best friend Bolo. Oh, you won't mind me saying, he's e-commerce genius and works for one of the big loan companies, and so he's helped me a lot with that. And he actually was the initial one that said, "It's about the story. You don't tell anyone what it's made of. No one gives a shit if it's made out of birch. They care about the story." And so that's really what got us pushing that angle from the very start. And so, yeah, we've done our first EDMs and got quite good results from that. They tell me that they're good.
They tell me. I heard the open rates tracking okay.
Yeah, that's right. And it is new, but we've learned a lot. And we've got, like I say, some great people, Nat, and we've got a couple of e-commerce people helping out now. Tell me,
you've done the open letter. I'm interested in story. You've done the open letter. That was story. You just explained what's happened to Stage Kings and how you're morphing into flavor. That's a great story to tell. How else has story shown itself in the IsoKing brand, Jeremy?
It's really all we've been about up until now, and we've not wanted to go. And I was actually, when someone mentioned EDMs months ago to me, I said I don't want to do that yet. I get EDMs, I hit delete, unfollow, and all these sort of things. So I really didn't want to go down that path. Everything's been about story. We've posted a video or we've posted something about the people. It's all about the people working for us, and we've got event crew. It's 500,000 event workers out of work in the country. We've tried to help as many local guys as we can. We got event cleaning crews in there. We've got site managers and venue managers and just general crew from these festivals that have got no work. And all our story is their story, and they're all there. And we did. I don't know if you may have seen. We did a thank you video a couple of weeks back where everyone working in the company over that day just said thank you for your support, and it really is the support that people have been giving us is what's keeping things going.
I love that. And one of the criticisms I get from some listeners of this podcast is that I don't do enough interviews with product marketers. It's more service-based people. And I work hard at having more product marketers come on. One of my favourite sayings in marketing is people buy from people. And that particularly applies to service-based businesses because you actually, you like a particular person who happens to be an accountant, so that person becomes your accountant. You don't just get them because they're an accountant, right? But you just made a point within product manufacturing and marketing that people still buy from people. You are promoting your people. You are promoting the story of each of those people. And I think it can apply to both industries or both, service or product. I think it's fantastic that you're doing that. Do you think you have a better business now than you had with Stage Kings before COVID-19 came along?
It's a very different business. The turnover's not what an event business was, but it's a really good business. And it's one we're going to continue moving forward as well. Even when events are back, we're going to run Stage Kings and IsoKing, and we need to work out the nuts and bolts of that. But we do want to keep it going. People keep coming to us with ideas. We're still reaching 250,000 people every week through social media, and the feedback and that communication is still really strong. So we'll keep that going, and it's a great business.
Do you? When do you think events will come back in Australia?
The smaller events are coming back now. There's some smaller things coming up. There's a lot of television starting and movies are all running again. As far as a big music festival or large gathering, that's anyone's guess at this stage, particularly on the East Coast. I know Perth and Adelaide they're a long way ahead of us. But that's the thing. It's still so unknown.
Well, mate, it's a great story. Great story. Love a good pivot at the best of times, but yours is a particularly fascinating one. If people want to check out your flat-packed furniture and cat racks and skateboard racks and
Christmas
wooden
trees.
Christmas trees. Stagekings.com.au is actually where you go. And if you go there, there's an IsoKing button at the top of the page. Any thoughts about actually just getting IsoKing.com.au sorted? And
Yeah, we're working on that as well. Yeah. We've actually got it registered. We just need to work out the best way to pull it all apart and and keep that. We really wanted to keep that story.
No doubt. Well, thank you, Jeremy. It's a really inspiring story. And like we started off at the top of this interview, advice for those business owners who are struggling and are a little bit stuck and wondering what's next. Hopefully this has opened up their mind to what's possible. Thanks, buddy, and well done.
Thanks so much. Great to see you.
Like I said, if you are doing it tough during these ridiculously uncertain times, I hope Jeremy provided you with just like an ounce of inspiration. As he said at the top of that interview, there's always options, okay? Like last week, we spoke to Mike Grande, music teacher who's built an entire music teaching platform. Jeremy's pivoted. I hope you can see options if you are doing it tough. Hey, Jeremy's also kindly offered a 10% discount off all IsoKing office furniture. So just head over to stagekings.com.au and use the coupon code Timbo in the shopping cart. It is stagekings.com.au. You'll see the IsoKing brand in the nav bar. All right, here's my top 3 attention grabbers from that chat with IsoKings Jeremy Fleming. Attention grabber number 1. I love how he built his first business by creating a list of A-list clients, brands he'd love to work with, and then putting his head down and chasing them down. So who can you pick up the phone to right now and have a chat with the possibility of getting some business, maybe a referral? Don't know. Moving your business forward in some way, shape or form. Attention grabber number 2. I love how when the shit hit the fan, Jeremy asked one simple question. What skills or hobbies do our staff have that we could create a business out of? Sure enough, there's a bloke in his business who loves making furniture. Rest is history. Attention grabber number 3. I love how Jeremy published that open letter on his social media channels. No hype, no sell. He just laid out his situation and as a result received a groundswell of what he calls community-led innovation. I'm putting a copy of that open letter in the show notes. If you want to read it, head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/527. Well, that's what caught my attention. I would love to know what caught yours. Or maybe you've made a successful pivot during these COVID-infected times. I'd love to hear about it. Give me a buzz. Give the Small Business Big Marketing hotline a buzz. More to the point, on 0480 015 150. Let me know. If I like what you've got to say, I might just play it on an upcoming episode.
Come on down. It's Timbo's Monster Prize Draw.
It's time to reward another motivated listener for taking some serious and swift marketing action. And today's winner is migration agent Nick Hansen of hansenimmigration.com.au. He says, "Hey, Tim, I've been listening to your show for the last 4 years since starting my business as a migration agent in Melbourne." Thank you, Nick. That's a long time, and I appreciate that. The biggest thing I've learned from your show is the power of niching. Gosh, last week's Monster Prize Draw winner was all about niching. Maybe there's something in this idea. He goes on to say, a lot of migration agents try to do everything for everyone. But with the ever-changing legislation, it's very hard to keep up with the changes and build efficient systems and processes. So I have focused my business purely on helping families and gay couples, and I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this if it wasn't for your show. Oh, I'm a bit chuffed and rather embarrassed right now. The changes in the marriage laws really opened up a lot of opportunities for gay couples, and I have focused a lot of my marketing in that direction. Focusing on families has been particularly helpful during COVID with the border restrictions because partners and children of Australian citizens can get permission to enter Australia if given the right guidance. I started my business back in early 2016 as a side hustle to my corporate travel job, but escaped the cubicle almost 2 years ago. Well done, Nick. Just want to say a massive thank you, as your podcast has been a game changer for me. Nick Hansen, hansenimmigration.com.au. Nick, for the trouble of sending me that note, you've won a full range of Lies non-alcoholic spirits valued at well over $500. Vouchers to use for Sendle and Tradies. You get promotion on the show, backlink in the show notes. Everyone else, I'd love to hear from you. One idea. Keep it simple, keep it short. One idea that you've implemented from listening to this podcast and what impact it's had on your business. 0480 015 150. If I like what you got to say, I might play it on air. If I do, you win. Okay, so the next episode of your favourite marketing podcast, and this is your favourite marketing podcast, right? Huh? Is a little concerning, but a must listen. As you may know, in the past few months, I've had my Facebook, Instagram and PayPal hacked. And just this week, like in the last few days, I found over $1,000 of fraudulent charges on my MasterCard. So what's a fully hacked podcaster to do but get Australia's leading cybersecurity expert on to find out what's going on and what us small business owners can do about it? It's scary, it's confronting, but gee, there's some learnings in that episode that we all must implement if we don't want to be hacked, basically. Hey, if you'd like to keep the conversation going, be sure to join the Small Business Big Marketing Facebook tribe, where we've got over 700 business owners pushing and holding each other accountable every single day. If you've got something to tell me, call the Small Business Big Marketing hotline on 0480 015 150. Pause the podcast right now. Call me. Leave me a message. Please let other business owners know about the podcast, which is presented by me, Timbo Reid. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.